All righty. So, okay, it says we are live. Hello, everybody. Happy Friday afternoon. It's the end of another week. We all made it. Yay. This painting, artistry, in tarot is with Jonathan and I. We have a wonderful guest, and her name is Jenna Matlin. So, welcome, Jenna, to my channel. I just met her for the first time a few moments ago. Is a longtime friend of Jonathan's, and I'm just going to go ahead and let her share with everybody who she is, and I'll just hand it right over to you.
Thank you so much. Hey, everyone. My name is Jenna Matlin. I am a full-time professional intuitive tarot reader and medium. I'm the author of a few books. Jonathan has them, so he'll show you.
Oh, yeah.
It
Here we
is
go. There's the books.
the most recent one was Will You Give Me a Reading? And then I also, before that, wrote Have Tarot Will Party, and then Have Tarot Will Travel, where I help other up and coming tarot readers who want to go pro, but also to really help you with the art of how to read tarot for others in a way, because oftentimes we can be so nervous or shy about giving those readings and worried about whether we're accurate. So this book is about how to help you do that. And so that's basically it. You can find me by my website, which is my name, jennamatlin.com. And I also have a channel here on YouTube where I occasionally
Links below.
post fun things. Oh, thank you. So let's see what else. I don't know. Gemini Sun, Gemini Moon, Leo Rising. That's about it.
I know basics. Yes, I know rising, moon, and sun sign. Good to go. Other than that, when you start talking astrology, my brain glazes over. But I know better. So thank you, Jonathan, for that.
Sure.
Thank you.
And I didn't know you were a medium.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
When did that start for you? As a young child?
Yes, but I had a personal family tragedy that made me put it away for a really long time. And a few years ago, I think I needed to heal. And as I healed up, then I opened that up. So I do a combination of mediumship and tarot. And it's a unique process that I've created. But yeah, I do both. And I love it. I love it. Because when you get to do mediumship, mostly it's about just really people that love each other, miss each other, versus the typical tarot, like, is he coming back? And that's like always very anxiety filled.
Yeah, I'm not crazy for those. Yeah.
So it's a much more chill vibe. But it's definitely a heavy lift with mediumship, because you've got to have validation and evidential mediumship, which is what I do as well. So yeah. How about yourself, Heather? Are you medium as well, or?
Some people would say, well, you're intuitive, because this is the conversation that a lot of us have been having, and I like to have it on my channel, just kind of trying to figure out what constitutes, because the popular word now, and I think it's the word that helps people ease into and are more accepting of the metaphysical, the new age, the woo,
Right.
movement, is instead of saying, well, I'm psychic, when people are saying you're intuitive. So that seems to be a much more I can't think of the word for it. When you hear psychic or psychic medium, it's kind of like a trigger word, whereas intuitive is much more, because people understand what intuition is.
Right.
And for me, my art has always been very intuitive. And so has, with my readings, I've had people tell me, well, you may not be a psychic medium, but you are psychic because you're intuitive. So, I have dreams and things here and there, but there have been women in my family that actually, have been able to see spirit, and they completely don't want nothing to do with it. They shut it out.
Yep.
It's basically, dark stuff, they're too scared of it. And so I'm basically the black sheep out of the family at the moment.
Join the club.
Okay. That's okay. I don't mind. But no, for me, everything's very intuitive. And I know I have some people who was it that I think it might have been Jackie, Crystal Moon. She's in chat, and I'll say hello to chat in a second. She did a show yesterday on the myths of tarot and kind
Mm.
of just talking about, the typical myths that you hear, like you can't buy your first deck, it has to be gifted,
Yeah, yeah,
kind of things like
yeah,
that,
yeah, 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 yeah.
and I believe we're getting into the discussion about, isn't too intuitive also considered psychic, and just kind of starting to have that conversation, and I love having
Oh,
those.
oh
And
yeah,
so for
yeah.
me, yeah, moving
I think,
forward, we'll see.
you're making such a good point, because I think it's interesting, because I think the trend is now starting to swing back into saying psychic. Yes, I am psychic, and owning it. Like, I
Mm,
feel like it was intuitive for a long time, but now it's starting to shift a little bit. But I will say that even though we use it interchangeably, intuition is completely different process than like the clairs, for example,
mhm,
Right.
because intuition is unconscious, the crunching of numbers, or unconscious, like your brain is actually working out the answer, but it's happening below your conscious awareness.
mhm,
Whereas psychic ability is information comes to you that there's just no possible way you could have known that.
Hmm.
And also, like, it usually pops up very weirdly. So I think we should but I do think there's like I don't know, maybe like a range or a spread on intuition to
mhm.
psychic,
Like a spectrum,
yeah,
there's
yeah,
different.
that's the word. So
Hmm.
I think we should absolutely use whatever tool is at our disposal to speak for the source or speak with the source.
And I have another example from Jackie's show. Jackie, I think it was your show yesterday, hon. But we were talking, then someone saying, "Well, put away the cards. It keeps you from being a medium. It's keep you from your being able to do your mediumship." And for me, I was kind of like, but for because when I've done readings, there have been things that have come through recently
Mhm,
that I wouldn't have been able to pick up on, and then see it validated in the chat if I didn't
mm,
have that card. So I think that's another myth too, that
mhm,
you hinder your mediumship if you use cards. And for me, I think that should be a
mm,
myth, because
Hmm.
for some people, that card is that
right,
stepping stone where it kind of takes you into that space of, okay, this is where I'm going, and that allows you to have that
mhm,
image to focus on, or the
mm,
color or the
mhm.
energy to help you open up, so that message
Yes.
comes
Well,
through.
so I was just accepted in Atlanta, Georgia. There is
Ooh.
Mystic South, which is a pagan witchy conference. And I'm going to be doing a
Ooh,
workshop this
very
summer
cool.
called Mediumship for Tarotists. So the idea is you absolutely can use tarot to become a medium, because the tarot deck itself is the medium, just like the
Hmm.
Ouija board is the medium.
I stay
And
away
that's
from those.
oh, yeah, I've got some stories, but
Yeah, me too.
but I feel personally, every time I give myself a rule, like this is how I work, but I don't work like that,
Hmm.
there always comes a point where something happens that shows me the rule I've placed on myself is actually wrong or an illusion,
Hmm.
because I'm breaking my own rules all the time.
Yeah, and
So, anyways, sorry,
sometimes
these are
that's
all like my
good.
really favorite topics.
And sometimes that's good,
Right.
because if we stay in one way, then we stagnate. So sometimes if we do break our own rules, then we get an opportunity to look at that as an
Mhm.
opportunity for growth. It's like,
Yeah.
okay, did I break this? And now it's kind of like, oops, I gotta reestablish like a boundary, or is this something that was meant to happen, to say, no, you can move past this now, you can move through this. This is where, what I mean?
Yeah, totally.
It's like sometimes a lot of those is taking that step forward, and not necessarily taking that step back. And I keep looking down because I'm expecting I have two kitties, and one
Oh.
always loves to come and jump on my lap during my shows. Um, but really quick before we get too far, because we've been having people popping in, I just want to say hello to Nancy, a
Hi,
Crow's
Nancy.
Intuition. She was in here. She was so excited for today. This is Kaylee. She's also an artist. This is Fogo Pogo. Well, her name is Kaylee. And let's see. And Nancy says, I've got my big screen TV fired up.
Oh boy, here we go.
Looking a little rough around the edges today. So I did see Jackie Jacaranda. Hello, Jackie. And then we have the other Jackie, Jackie's Crystal Moon.
Jackie and Jackie.
Yep. And Jackie was Crystal Moon was when I was having the show yesterday, the live on Tarot Myths, which was really interesting. We had a great conversation with everybody and everyone's saying hello. And Gerald is here. Hello, Gerald. Thanks for popping in. Howdy. And yes, please do all the YouTube things. So everyone's saying hi to each other. Making sure.
Oh, Jackie Jacaranda said that Jenna now has 1,000 subscribers.
Oh, yay! You hit
wow.
K. That's awesome. Thank you, everybody. And Gerald said, Jenna, I have your Will You Give Me a Reading? It's a good book with a lot of helpful info.
Thank you.
So, and Jay is here. Hello, Miss Majestic Jay. Good to see you, my dear. And thank you, Jackie. You know, your links are being put into the chat. And oh, yep. Jackie says I subbed. Now you are 1K. Woohoo!
Wow, what a day.
And here is Spiritual Rain. She's another one of our readers who's been in our chats, and I do a show with her and Jackie's Crystal Moon every Tuesday. We talk about topics of tarot. So we do that now as a threesome. It's a tarot threesome. Oh my. Let's see. Thanks for this fab explanation, Jenna. All righty. So, yes, a medium was trying to convince I didn't need cards to be a medium. I told him I wanted to add those abilities to my readings. So there. So that was what we were talking about that yesterday. And Karen is here. Hello, Care Bear.
Hi, Karen.
I like that. Bard of Cards.
Yes,
I love that.
She's an artist. Right. She's a reader, and she's also a poet, and she's done some
I'm always
poetry.
Like, why didn't I think of that? Damn it.
It's wonderful. We have a very artistic community. I absolutely love that. Let's see. Did I miss anybody else? I thought I saw. Did I miss? Nope. Okay. And we are all caught up.
Yes, Gerald. Yes.
Yeah, totally. Just let me know.
All righty. So everybody, we're going to start our artwork, and I'll try to keep an eye on the chats as best as I can. My keyboard and everything is away from me, so that, because I don't know about YouTube, but there are times when I've accidentally been painting, and instead of going into the paint water, I go into the coffee or to the tea. So all that has to be far away from me.
That's why I have a mug with a lid.
And so for me, I am going to use, I was gifted Diana Bowles, also known as Oil Painter. Someone gifted me her cards. And so I decided to pull from that deck today. And I'm pulling out her number 7. And I just love, where am I here? There we go. I just love the colors in this card. This is all her artwork, Jenna. That's
really
painter,
beautiful. Wow.
And she painted and created her own deck, which I'm on the process of trying to do.
Fine, I'll buy another deck.
And so this one called out to me today. I love, the long dark hair, the kind of like the fortune teller, but I just love the colors, the richness, the vibrancy. So
that's pretty.
And I feel a little fired up too right now. So that's what I have. Jonathan, did you want to share your card?
Sure. I pulled a card from the Tarot Disassembled because I really love how it just strips down to just the symbols. So I know what I might be missing. And sometimes I look at these cards, I'm like, I have to look at the regular RWS because I don't even remember that. Like the volcano and the lovers. Right? Like, oh yeah, there is a volcano in that, isn't there?
There you go.
So today I pulled the lovers.
Ooh la la.
Cool.
And Jenna, you were explaining backstage what you were going to do with multiple images. So
Yes. Well, I just want to give quick background. I've not done art since like junior high, and then I was made fun of and I put it away for the rest of my life.
Unfortunately that happens, yes.
And then, 2 years ago, like in my midlife crisis, namely perimenopause, I was just like, I need color. I need color. I don't know. I need color. And I was like, I need to learn art again. So I started doing watercolor for the last 2 years. So, it's just been such a joyful journey, and I do it not because I want to even be good, but it just makes me happy. So for today, I have
That's
something
what's
called,
most important, is what makes you happy.
yeah.
Yes.
I picked so I have something I call my mixy matchy box, which
I
has
love that.
thousands and thousands
I
of
love you, mixy matchy.
like decks that I lost one card to, or like little pieces I was given over the years. It's kind of like a sourdough starter for divination. So I picked a handful of cards from this deck, and I'm going to try to make a composite image of them all. So I have 4 of Wands.
Okay.
I have Justice.
Ooh.
I have Temperance. I thought that was really interesting.
Oh, I just got that Shadowscapes deck. I love
Isn't
her
it beautiful?
Her
Yeah.
artwork is amazing.
Yeah. Excuse me. And then Knight of Pentacles. And then I have 2 cards that aren't tarot cards that I pulled. This is the Throat Chakra and the Lady of the Lake. So I'm going to think
Susan
about,
Sedan Boulay.
I don't know, I might be a little too ambitious, but I'm going to try to take pieces from each of these cards to create a composite like reading or message from them all. So that's what I'm going to do.
Very
And
cool.
I'm going to be on I have a document camera, so after this you won't really see my face anymore, but you'll see me working.
So Jenna, you're going to be working in inks, you were saying, in watercolors, because I know I brought my inks today for a change.
Yeah, I'm probably going to do, I mean, with the time, I was going to probably do some ink and maybe watercolor for sure. Yeah.
Usually I like to use my acrylics, but today I'm bringing out the acrylics. So alright, so thank you, my dear. And Jonathan, what are you using today?
I'm sticking with acrylics. It's just easy for like quick and fast art because it dries so quick.
Oh, meow.
So I can put a layer on and then turn back and pause and talk to you guys for a little bit and let the layer dry.
I know, like, for sure, like, I am too impatient to do watercolors, so that's why I mess it up all the time. But I don't know.
Hey, Jenna, this is one of my babies. He showed up. This is the one.
Hey, enlarging yourself and biggin.
And biggin. This is my Mossy.
Oh, hi, cutie. Oh,
he loves coming on for tarot and everything when mommy's talking. So you have to get down now. And Jay, yes, you hear peacocks.
Oh, hey, Michelle.
I know. That's behind me. You hear that? The orchard next door has probably, I don't even know how many wild peacocks, because they're constantly breeding.
And today, I am going to start out with my Liquitex acrylic ink. I decided to pull out and play with some inks. I got red. I have deep violet. Go figure. I love my purples. And I also have a aqua ink that is a vermilion. That's by Marabou. And then I have inks that are P.H. Martin's and Jane Davenport inks as well. So we had a few more join us. So like I said, I can't really watch too much of my mods can help me out with and I'll check as best as I can. So let's see, we just had Sylvia, a colorful foresight. Hello, Sylvia, my dear. Thanks for being here. We have Michelle Marie, Astrological Tarot, has joined us.
Hi, Michelle Marie and Jonathan.
Hello, Michelle.
Yes, and and her Jonathan and her little Rosie, her little puppy doggy. Hello, Joan B. I'm working on the art of cleaning up my kitchen today. Well, there you go. That could be very artistic. And
yeah, especially the organizing part.
And so, yeah, Sylvia, that was Diana Bowles. We all know her on her channel as Oil Painter, but Diana does the Akashic readings and does the dreams with Allie on Heart and Soul Connected as well. And Jay said, "Oh, so it's Jonathan Peacock and do your thing." So, alrighty, just gonna jump into it now and get cracking, get painting.
Yeah, do you guys know anyone that does any of those like soul portraitures, like that intuitive painting that they do for people? I'm so curious about learning how to do that.
The creator of the Soul Decks does that, I think.
I don't know if anybody in our community. I notice that there are times when I paint, I'll look back later on and I'll see a face or I'll see an ant like a dragon or something, and I'll be like, "Oh, somebody came by to say hello." So, but, I have a friend who does works in pastel, soft pastel, and she does these amazing pet portraits. They're just absolutely beautiful. It's like she really connects to the soul of the animal she's doing the portrait of, and she's a cat person herself, and but she's not into tarot and stuff. She actually gifted me a deck a couple of months ago that she bought, that she was going, "Well, I thought I was going to learn tarot, but then I got scared." And
Oh no.
She goes, "You want this?"
Oh man.
So, but yeah.
That's really unfortunate. Oh.
Yeah.
Well, I know that I've lost I mean, I'm pretty sure there's still, my friends on Facebook, but I've noticed that when I was posting my shows and stuff on Instagram and Facebook, that people who typically talk to me about my art and stuff, even fellow artists, stop commenting on my art and anything. I think they weren't happy with the tarot. So I've had to stop posting tarot stuff on my Facebook so that I still have a platform for my artwork to share with others. So it's a little unfortunate,
Absolutely. I think tarot has such a PR problem, that it's seen as dark or we're con artists or whatever, but really I think it's one of the most helpful things.
Yeah,
and it's at least I'm very honest with it, like and it's a quick, beautiful intervention to give people clarity. I don't know. I just think it's really unfair, and I think it's always a good idea to challenge our own assumptions about things,
Right.
I mean, nowadays we remember, at least with my area, Barnes and Noble, the tarot cards and the metaphysical books were always kept in the back of the store. Now at my store, they're almost right up front. You got the bestsellers on the front, and behind it, boom, there's the tarot decks right there. So it's more mainstream, but there's still such a stigma, around it. And I know that because Jenna, I do investigative tarot readings, true crime readings with Jackie's Crystal Moon. And also, we'll have like Allison, my friend Allison, Aries Pro Tarot, and Betsy Palmer joined us one day. And so has Spiritual Ring. And if I go, now there are true crime channels, I can't comment in the chat because there are those people in there that don't like people with the tarot channels. I was going to say something one night and somebody had, tarot in their channel name. And when they made a comment or said hello, the host was immediately like, "Oh no, don't bring that bullshit into my channel, da 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 da." So, yeah,
wow.
it's really hard. And
it is really hard.
And Michelle shared that she's got she says Prismacolor pencils are my favorite. And then she's asking Kaylee if she's got a favorite brand of color pencils. And Joan says, yeah, I bought my first decks at Barnes & Noble, hidden in the back in the early 90s. So,
Is that
Oh,
those peacocks?
yeah.
oh yeah, they're getting closer. It's like really, literally right there. And
They sound like cats almost.
Yeah.
they have so many weird noises. It's not just one. There's like this honking sound they make sometimes. And then sometimes they make it sounds like someone screaming. It's just like, what are you doing?
Help me.
I'm gonna do something I haven't done in a long time, and I'm gonna try using pink knife.
Ooh, a palette knife. Go for it. Yeah, there are times when I just love my when I have the space in the room and I can do my regular acrylic paints. I love having my palette knives because you can just like spread the colors into one another and get all different color plays and different. I just love the enjoyment. The element of surprise because there are no accidents, just happy mistakes. Karen says, we have a screech owl. Sounds super eerie at night. I bet.
Not bad. Oh.
Hey, Kaylee, I
Palette
have
knife,
that.
I just did the
Let me
finger.
put Jonathan on big. Let's see what we got going here.
I start putting in the volcano with the palette knife.
There you go. Get that texture, that earthy texture.
First, I just put my finger in the green, so I gotta fix that.
You're cute, Jonathan. Let's see. So yes, Kaylee, I have watercolor pencils. They're a little spendy. Shan treated me a couple of years ago to them when I was exploring watercolor. They're by the Albrecht Dürer.
That's what I was going to use. Probably, I have some here.
Yeah,
They're a lot of
Faber
fun.
Pastels. Yeah, they just, if it's the right paper, they just dissolve. When you put water on it. But what I love to do a lot is I just open up my pencil holder and I just take my watercolor brush, the water brush bottles, and I just take it right off the tips of the colored pencils and put it right on the paper. So, but for me, what I'm also using today, I forgot to mention, is I love my Caran d'Ache Neocolor 2s. Their Neocolor 1s are their regular hard crayon wax pastel, but their Neocolor 2s are actually water soluble. So if you lay them down and you want to add a little bit of water to them, they're a great mixed media tool. Mixed media medium. Absolutely love it. You can play and you get great textures, especially after you put something down, maybe with a palette knife or a brush that has texture on it, like a hog bristle, and you get that dry underlying texture from that, and then you just go over that with the wax pastel, and just really beautiful plays of color and layers, and what's the word? It just allows you to. I know. I'm trying to think of it. I'm sorry, Mr. Peacock. But yeah, it's just a great tool, medium, and you can find ones that are less expensive in the crafting sections of Michael's and Hobby Lobby and stuff. I know that what's his name? He's big in the crafting community right now with his distressed inks, and his crayons too. I can't think of his name, but yeah, he's carried in all the major craft stores. They're not light fast, but you could play around a lot with them too. Same thing with Jane Davenport, and she's based in Australia. Blending markers, yeah. Oh, it's hard. I want to talk to everybody and chat about art supplies that I'm supposed to be making the art too. Let's see. Michelle says, I just looked it up and it's peacock mating season. Peacocks
Oh,
use their calls for various reasons to attract mates, establish territory, or signal danger.
Yeah, no, that's definitely their mating call. I've learned to differentiate their calls. So
have any of you guys ever played with the Viviva Colors color sheets? They're crazy.
Yes, those
They're
are so cool, aren't they?
ooh,
Yeah, they're so vibrant. It's so nice. Because I do a lot of nature journaling for fun too. So I'll just take these
that's
and then
cool.
like a few, water pens
Yep.
and, my Sharpie and my thing and that's all I need, like it's crazy how many things, how innovative art products have become.
Right.
So,
Yeah, I have a
okay.
lot of art supplies that I kind of overindulged in over the years, and now they just kind of sit around. I've donated some to some local organizations for their art therapy and stuff, but
Oh yeah.
I've
I
got a
did
lot of Arteza.
those are color sheets. Yeah. So Joan, yeah, they're called
Yes.
Viviva.
Here, let me put you on the big
Sorry.
screen so you can see that. There we go.
There we go. The Viviva colors, and they're dry palettes like this, you see, and then there's a little mixing thing in the back if you want, but I have a palette mixer, so it's really nice. Oh, this peacock blue is just, it's so intense and bright and fun.
There's the peacock
They're a lot of
again.
fun. Yeah.
I think today we should thank you, Michelle, for looking up the spiritual connections with peacocks too, because it seems like the peacock really wants, to get his message across. But yeah, those Viva sheets,
As he
those are
calls
so
again.
cool.
Actually, I think that was a different one.
And thank you, Jackie, for putting everybody's links. You
Yeah,
rock,
thank
my
you.
dear. Let's see.
I'm totally missing chat.
Well, yeah, because we're painting, but I've been trying to keep an eye. I see Joan says, that is wild. I have a friend who paints with watercolor. These have been out for a while, Joan, but I still think I have one that's sealed up that I haven't used, but they go a long way.
They
I mean,
do.
just a little bit of water. I mean, they're that saturated and highly pigmented. So, and they're so easy to transport. They really are.
Yeah, I'll start using them here in a minute so people can see if they're interested. Or I can actually do it now.
Yeah, I'll put you back up on the big screen so that they can see how they dissolve. There we go.
My husband got me these water pens. I'll have to ask him what kind they are because they're not. Let's see what's going on here. There we go. Because not all water pens are created equal. I bought some at Walmart and I regretted it. Okay, so let's say for which color? Yeah, so here I am gonna so you can see it's very, very vibrant color.
Oh, it goes on real smooth too. I like that.
And you can mix the colors as well, like on another thing. So you can see that I just touched it a few times. And I've been playing with these for 6 months and it holds for a really long time. Mm-hmm. They've not paid me to endorse them. I think they should though.
Yes.
So
I've seen those art channels where they send you products and I want free products.
Yeah. So yeah, it's really cool, and they have all different kinds of palettes. Like they have some that are all metallics, some that are like a fall palette, a spring palette. I think this one I have is just the standard palette.
Yeah, it's been a few years since I bought mine, so I'm sure they probably expanded their. And what's really cool too is there's these little sleeves in between to protect each of the colors. So Very important.
Yeah, it's just, yeah, exactly. It's a water pen. And then you unscrew the top like this. And then you just fill it.
Mm-hmm.
And then like this. And usually if I don't have a napkin, if I'm traveling, I'll just like squeeze extra water out in my hand to clear the brush of the color. So you see it's already cleared of the brown. But I also have what is the other thing I have that's, I can't remember. I was going to show something else.
See, is the water pen just a brush with water in the handle part? Yes, Kaylee. It's so cool. You just open it up, you put water in there, you close it, and the way they have it designed is that you give it a little squeeze and it releases and it goes into the brush, and you don't have to worry about dipping your pen in and out of a water bowl, and that's really good for when you're on the go.
Yeah, so I think what I'm going to do is show you guys like how I play with it at least. So here I've got, what is this? This is Persian blue. So what I can do is, let me see if I can show this a little bit more. So I was going to do water down here. So I can just squeeze the brush to do wet on wet. Ooh, see, it caught some of that. So I can squeeze that brush ahead of time to do wet on wet like that, even if I don't have a cup or anything. And then I can just pull from this color like this. It's very satisfying.
It is. Oh, excuse me.
It looks very satisfying.
Yeah.
I love what they call it the blooming, when you put the watercolor into the water and it just blooms. I love that. It's like, oh, it's so pretty. It looks like a flower.
And then I could squeeze a little more water if I'm feeling like it's not looking exactly like I want it to.
That's a beautiful shade of blue.
Yeah, isn't that pretty? Mm-hmm. And all that's just from the sheet. You know what I mean? It's crazy. Yeah. So I tend to really come to these a lot. And I found them completely by accident. I was at the store and I was like, what are these things?
And yes, Kaylee, those would be great for travel. When we go to the park, sometimes I take those with me, that they're depending on where you buy them too. I mean, if you go to like places like Karen Dosh and stuff, they have some really spendy ones with the fancy insides. But if you go to like Michael's or Hobby Lobby and you get a Pentel set, those are really good. I don't like the generic brands really from Hobby Lobby because the bristles don't necessarily stay secure in the brush, and when you squeeze it, there aren't as many. I think maybe the channels inside that help control the amount of water flowing through, and sometimes if you just give it a squeeze, it just comes blurting out. So Pentels are nice,
So then I also have this little guy. So if I'm on the run, I can, it's got a little tiny nib, so I can refill my pen once it runs out. But yeah, sometimes too much water will come out, so you have to be a little careful.
Does that happen when you squeeze it?
Sometimes and sometimes not. I don't know. I still haven't figured out exactly how to affect my whatever I'm doing with it. So so yeah, it's fun.
So yeah, if you're flying in June, Kaylee, that would be a great thing that you can carry on the plane, and just make sure there's no water in it, because then it'll be like liquid inside this, because they're all.
I've carried on with these and they've never pulled me for them. Maybe because it's like under 3 ounces or something, because it's a little bit. I don't know. I don't know if you want to risk it, but I've risked it and I've been fine.
So, Jenna, what type of paper are you using? Is that watercolor paper or?
Yeah, it is. I gotta be honest with you.
Cold or hot?
I don't have really great watercolor paper because it's so expensive, good watercolor paper. And I always feel like I'm not good enough to deserve that, I would feel bad. So this one, this came from Walmart. It kind of, it wobbles a little bit because I don't have it secured, but yeah, my paper is the one thing I probably should invest more in. And
I love Stonehenge. There's a company called Stonehenge. They put all types of
Oh,
paper
yeah.
out, and their watercolor paper. It's not as expensive as the Reeves or the I can't remember the other name, but it's a nice watercolor paper. It's 100% cotton, and it just takes watercolor so beautifully. You know.
Oh, it's called Stonehenge.
Yeah, and they have different types of paper. They have hot and cold press for watercolor. They have dry paper, sketching paper. They have paper for oil pastels. Oh,
There's
Joe
one with
says
the
my
ace
cat is
over
trying
here.
to find the peacocks. That's cute. Hi, Pisces greeter. ATK. But yeah, Joe says my cat's trying to find out where the peacocks are coming from.
Oh, wow, Jonathan, you like move fast. Look at that. Wasn't that like basically empty the last time I looked up?
Do you need a close-up?
Yeah, I want to see what you're up to.
All righty, let's get you on the big screen.
Okay, try not to touch the paint this time.
Here, let me.
Oh, I messed
see.
it up.
There we go. Woo!
So, yeah.
Oh my gosh, wow.
So that's what I got so far. Does it look like grass?
Yeah. Speaking of volcanoes, I was in Iceland like not this last December, but the one before. And I went to the Blue Lagoon and went to all the places where the volcano is going up there now.
Yeah, we just watched a special the other day on Mount St. Helens.
Oh, wow.
And it was a guy who was a kid at the time that he lived in Portland, Oregon, and they could see, the eruption from there, and didn't just realize how much destruction, that caused, and how, all these years it's still taken a long time for the forest to regrow. I mean, it completely changed the topographic layout of the land on that north side of it.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
When did that happen? What year was that? Does anyone remember?
1980.
Yeah, I think I have a very, very, very faint, very vague memory of that. I was like, what, 9, like 3 years old, maybe, like very faint memory.
Yeah, I was 9 going on 10 that year, and I just remember them saying on the TV, "Oh wow, look at this," and I was like,
"Meow." In Florida, I don't know if you guys know, there's like naturalized peacocks just running around, kind of wild. I remember I went down there once. I was in West Palm in the evening. I was like, "Oh my God, there's peacocks just running around in town." It was the funniest thing.
Oh, this is funny. Karen said to you, Jenna, "I'm so jelly, Jenna. I want to go to Iceland."
Oh, yeah.
And
I
the
could
little
only
Dottie
do it
bee.
because I live in North Carolina. So Iceland Air started a new kind of a new direct route. So they had all these like crazy specials, and I got an incredible deal. It's beautiful. It reminds me very much of the high desert in Southern California and Vegas, except it's volcanic rather than desert. But
that's one of the places where Shan wanted to be stationed when he was in the service.
Where was that? Oh, Iceland, or?
Yeah, because he loves snow. He loves snow and the cold. And
oh,
stuff,
so he didn't want to go to the Mojave Desert. He's like, "Oh, come on, let me get to the Mojave Desert."
They ended up sending him to Cuba and Spain. So, but yeah, he loved Iceland. That, and he almost had a chance to go to Hawaii too, but somebody else got that.
Oh.
Do you know what island? It was probably Oahu, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I used to live in Hawaii. I don't even know if I told you that, Jonathan, when I was very little, because my family were Navy. So my mother My mother graduated from Oahu High School. I don't know what it's called, but there's some very early memories of me on Hawaii. And then from there we moved to San Diego. But yeah, my mom tells me a lot of stories about living there as a teen.
Cool. Yeah, when I was a teen, I was in Costa Rica. So.
Were you really? Did I not? I didn't know that.
Yeah, half grew up in Costa Rica.
Oh, wow.
So many places I want to go.
Of course, now it's been, God, it's probably been like 24 years since I've been there. My mom says that she doesn't want me going back because she wants me to remember it the way it was.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm going to listen to my mama.
So on my painting here, I created, because I've got this 4 of Wands, so I wanted to incorporate the 4 Wands on either side here. And then Knight of Pentacles, but I just put Pentacles in the trees. And then for Justice, decided to add these little buckets up here kind of to represent the scales on some level. And then for Temperance, we have one like upright vessel for Temperance. I think I started getting it confused with a star, and then one coming down. So I was like, oh wait, that's a star. That's not Temperance. Oh well.
Still deals with water. With fluid.
Right.
Yeah, so it's like one is upright, one is tilted in a temperate kind of way, like not knocking over all your vessels, maybe. So I need to figure out now how I want to make the Lady of the Lake in here, and then the throat chakra idea. I don't know yet. Thinking about it.
Alrighty. Let's see. Joan B said, I've been to Costa Rica on a student exchange in the 90s. It was such a long time ago. I did an exchange too in the 90s, Joan. I ended up going to Flagstaff, Arizona. I wanted to go to Hilo. I think that's the town or the city for Hawaii. But my parents were just kind of like, no, we want you to stay on the mainland, So
that's funny. When I was 16, I got sent to Thailand as an exchange student.
Wow.
Yeah.
Although if we had the money, I probably would have been, okay to go. But one of the other programs was for Siena, Italy, and there was just no way that, with my parents' incomes and my mom being separated and stuff, that we would be able to financially be able to do that. My dad didn't even think I needed to be in college. High school, he felt should have been enough, but I did my thing.
I got to pause for a little bit, let this layer dry, but the background's pretty much done, I think.
Yeah, the last piece that the first time Jonathan, you and I started, it took me 2 sessions to finish that one. And so we'll have to have another one started. So, let me get you back up on the screen. I was looking at mine. So there we go.
I love the texture.
Thank
Very
you.
Cool.
Is everyone having fun just hanging out and watching us paint?
Yeah, I wasn't initially sure if this would be, people would show up for this, because it's like we're not doing readings, we're not doing mediumship or anything like that. It's just people hanging out, especially too on Sunday nights with poetry. But people like, hearing people writing poems on paper, pencil on paper, and us sharing, what we get. And so, yeah, you do what you love. It's like Miss Tarot D always tells me, if you do something and it's no longer any fun, or you don't enjoy it anymore, then what's the point of doing it? So I got to make sure that I keep doing what makes me happy.
Life is too short.
Yes, blessed be, my dear, on that one. Blessed be, amen, and all that good stuff.
I'm really Really loving how the water turned out here. I'm liking that.
Well, that is pretty.
And then I made the vessels red, thinking about Temperance is traditionally, you know, Archangel Michael with the fire triangle upright, like he on his chest. So it's my nod to that on some level.
Michael's my dude. I love Michael.
Working from home. Yeah, it's nice to hang out with
Yep.
lives and hang out with people when you're kind of on your own. That's true.
Mm,
And yes, Temperance is also alchemy. Yep.
alchemy,
Yeah.
fire and water. Yep.
That's why when someone asked me why did I change my channel to using the word alchemy, and it's because I'm an artist mixing colors, you know, playing around with cards and art and images and color, and you know, to me all that is alchemy. It's a mixing. It's creating something that, you know, lifts you on a spiritual level. And you know, I'm not trying to make gold. It'd be nice if I ever figured out how to do that, but no. For me, my alchemy is my art. You know, that's how I express alchemy.
What kind
Even
of
the
course?
original alchemists weren't really trying to make gold. That was just an allegory.
Yeah, they're trying to reach that in immortality, enlightenment, you know. But to keep the Christian, you know, patriarchy off their backs, they had to say, nope, we're working on making the gold.
Yeah, I did a to join, like, to follow up. I've been doing a lot of historical deep dives on the Marseille, and I figured out who the Empress actually was from the Marseille. And it's Barbara of Sealy. She was the Holy Roman Empress. And if you look at the image of her, she has the coat of arms that you then can find her very easily. But for a woman of the 1400s, she was an alchemist, actually, and an astrologer. So we have this idea of, like, you know, oh, the Empress is just like the mother and she's nurturing and soft. And like, she actually represents a super, super liberated, badass woman for her time. But as those wealthy white men in Europe and the UK kind of co-opted tarot, and then they changed tarot to suit whatever their, you know, spiritual, whatever, like, you know, du jour, they changed a lot of how people saw those cards. And a lot of the women in tarot got kind of shunted through the Victoriana, you know, treatment.
Right.
So I've been really in this place of doing a lot of like deep diving and reclaiming, because I have just found crazy things I have not seen barely anywhere else. And I'm like, wow, this really changes how I see this card now, you know?
Yeah.
When's the book come out?
Huh? What?
When's your history book come out?
I know. I've got to just start this other book. I just needed a break, man.
Yeah, no, I get it.
Burnout. Yeah, creative burnout. I've been there.
I've just been wanting to actually be in nature and to work on my garden. And
Kaylee asked more female representation. And Kaylee says maybe you should make a reclaimed tarot deck. Interesting.
Yeah, I think it's interesting. Like the story of the tower. Everyone is scared of the tower, but actually, I believe, and I have strong evidence to suggest that the tower is actually, because you have to look at what did people know about in the 1400s, like just like pop cultural for them. And at that time, Saint Barbara was one of the 3 virgin saints that they used to invoke to protect them from the plague. And so Saint Barbara, if you Google her, she's holding a tower in her hand. And the story goes that she turned to Christian, and her dad was pagan. And he said, if you don't recant, you know, like he basically put her in a tower, locked her up, but then also they were working on the tower. So if you look at the original image of the Marseille, it has 3 windows representing of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Ghost. So anyways, he tortures her, he kills her, long story short. And then after he kills her, immediately he's struck by lightning from God. So when you look at the Marseille image, You see
Ace.
one person falling to their doom and another person kind of escaping out the side, which is her. So it's a very different story, the Tower, the actual story of it, than how we understand it today. So knowing what I know now, I see it as liberation from oppression. And so it blows my mind the more I deep dive,
We were talking on Tarot Tuesday Talks. We were talking about our least favorite cards, and I know Rain and I were agreeing on that. For me, the card that I least like is the Hierophant, because even though I was raised Catholic and I do still hold some beliefs from there, in my spiritual beliefs today, just what the patriarchy has done to people, to women, to men, to children, and just so many atrocities that have been done in patriarchal religions, in their god names. And for me, their tarot cards were I kind of have issue with, because it's full of Christian symbolism. And
Right.
it's nice hearing that there is, again, as with the goddess, as soon as we got into the medieval times and people started writing more and Christianity took over, a lot of those goddesses and gods and of old times, and just the respect for nature and everything, just totally was obliterated, and everything was just transformed into, or not completely obliterated, but kind of reconfigured to fit the patriarchal, their cause and their point of view. And so it's interesting that today, within the same week, we're talking about the symbolism and the history of the images and how it relates to established religions. So very cool,
Right.
Jenna.
Yeah, it is really interesting. Like, I did a deep dive on. So in the Marseille, the four
Hi, Marley.
queens are representative of, like, pop culturally who the average person would have known. And out of the four queens, one of those queens is a goddess, and it's the only one. You guys want to guess who that might be?
I'm going to go with my favorite, the Queen of Wands, with her black
No,
cape.
no, it's not. I know, my favorite too, but no, it's the Queen of Swords. She's Athena.
Ah, yeah.
But over history, she then became, she's a, queen of swords or queen of spades. It's like, that's the old maid in the old maid game.
Yeah, the spinster.
And so she was seen as a tragic figure because she didn't have kids and a husband. Oh no, whatever will she do without one of those?
Yeah, a spinster. Yeah.
And so her meaning changed to being one very different. Again, that's what I mean. Like, it kind of went through this washing of Victoriana that made her a very tragic and severe card, when actually it was very much about, I'm emancipated and free and I'm fierce. So it's all kinds of stuff like that. And then when the Marseille, when the Golden Dawn people decided to make everything match, like the correspondences, they matched, they assigned elements to the suits, but those weren't there before. So there was a shift in the meanings of the queens and the court cards in general. So today's Queen of Pentacles looks more like Queen of Wands in the Marseille, because Queen of Wands was called the country. The suits were based on classes. So the Wands suit were like the peasantry, the farmers, lusty. They're out in the fields and just having a good time, peasants. And so Queen of Wands, that's why we see some of the artifacts, like she's good at business. Yeah, because she was going to the farmer markets, right, and selling her wares. And that she had a good intuition. That's because she was uneducated. She was shrewd in other ways. So that changed once they corresponded wands to fire.
Woo.
So anyways, I'm sorry. Like, this is like, I love this topic. It's just so interesting.
Oh, I could listen to you for hours.
Yes. And Kaylee says, would love a whole deck with that deep dive history behind it.
Yeah. I also found out, I believe I found out where they got the lovers from too. which was based off of the most popular written artifact outside of the Bible in the 1400s. And you can look it up. It's called The Romance of the Rose. So
Ooh,
the
the
Marseille has
rose.
3 people, right? It has 2 women and 1 man. I believe that the one that looks like the older woman is actually Venus. And it's depicting when Venus comes down into this young man and gives him permission to kiss the rose, which is the other girl. So it changes the vibe completely, doesn't it?
Yeah. Because in traditional tarot, you see them and you know it's kind of like Adam and Eve mostly, because you got the snake in there, you got the apple, and you got the, in a lot of decks. So it's nice to hear that there were other interpretations, other forms of inspiration.
Yeah, there's a lot of god and goddesses in the traditional Marseille. You have Fortuna as the Wheel of Fortune. You have Athena, like I said. You have Venus kind of making a bit of a cameo appearance. I don't know who else though. I have to think about it. But
my friend Christine just got home. Her and her son and her husband were in Greece for a year for the very first time. And she goes, Heather, I can't tell you what it was like to be at the Oracle of Delphi.
Oh my God.
And she goes, pictures that you see, in a 2D book, and then you're actually there in the 3D. She says it was just amazing. They were there for like a full week through her son's school, and just an absolute dream of a lifetime.
That's amazing.
That sounds incredible.
And we did have a few people who joined us. I'm just going to mention really quick here. Harley came in. Hello, Harley. Sonia Pinola came in. Everyone's all geeking out over the tarot history talks. And yeah, let's see. And Care Bear says the Hierophant is cute in the Everyday Witch deck.
Oh, yeah,
a yoga teacher leading a class. So yeah, different ways of reinterpreting,
One of the ways I see the Hierophant, like outside of that idea, is like my computer programmers will often show up as Hierophant, or like almost even like OCD sometimes, because I see the Hierophant as protocol. Like you've got to do this, this, this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That makes
No,
sense.
no, the Empress is not Demeter. The Empress is actually depicted of a real woman. Barbara of Cilli, she was Slovenian, and she was the Holy Roman Empress.
Wow. I can just sit and listen to Jenna all day. I mean,
I'm like a Gemini. I'm like, blah, 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 and then blah, 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 blah.
There are some channels that, where people talk about this, but it's kind of like, wah, 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 like in the Peanuts, wah, 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 wah. But when Jenna explains it, she gets into it, and it's this,
I know,
and just like, you can just sit there and you're like spellbound on your radio. Like, video killed the radio star. Where people used to have to be animated, and to keep people's attention on the radio and stuff. Just so you know, Jen, if I start like breaking out a song, I'm a music person. So sometimes for me, like when I do readings and stuff where I'm talking, songs will pop right into my head and out comes the song. So.
Do you have like a favorite? Do you have a favorite song or a song you always return to?
Not really that I know of. It's just whatever, certain cards. Well, I've noticed lately that about being strong, being resilient, I always think of the song by Stand Back by Stevie Nicks, where she says, like a willow, I can bend. She's strong, she's deeply rooted, and like a willow, she can bend and she won't break and fall over. So for me, that kind of comes through. And sometimes I'll just, someone will say a word and I'll be like, ooh, and I'll pop a song will pop into my head and I'll start singing it.
That's pretty
That's
cool.
initially what I was going to do when I was younger. I wanted to be a musician and a singer. That was my goal. Mm-hmm.
Do you play any instruments as well?
I used to. I started out with flute, and then I wanted to become a drummer. I was a drummer for a little while. But then after my dad passed, I hocked my drum set and gave my mom the money. And that was back in
Aw,
97. So
wow.
I haven't, had a drum set since 97. But, you know, I dabble. I'm creative.
Mhm.
I like playing around with different things. And so, and since I met Jeff Bailey, Tarot Asked Backwards, that's his channel. He does a lot of politics, but he does poetry
Oh,
and
wow.
psychotherapeutic readings. I probably said that wrong. But on Sundays, people will either ask people if they want a reading, and we'll pull a card and write a poem, or people can just throw out prompts to us, and then we'll pull a tarot card and then write a poem based on, you know, the card and what we get intuitively to write in a poem. And
Oh, that sounds like so much fun.
it is. And Wednesday, Ramon, who's Moon Scarab, you would love to have a conversation with him. He is so well read into divination, cartomancy. It's his passion. And we were doing card pulls from our Lenormand decks, and him and I both wrote a haiku for each of the Lenormand cards. And
Oh,
so
that's so
we
much
would
fun.
pull a Lenormand card, we would read about what the message of the Lenormand was for the card, and then we would share the haiku that we wrote. And so and he was going in depth, telling us about, Marie Lenormand and, her
Yeah.
history and stuff. And it was just like amazing just sitting there just listening to him.
I'm here. I saw in the chat, like, is that for the Marseille or RWS or both? I think it's the Marseille, but the Marseille is the precursor to the RWS. But the RWS was really made as a teaching tool for Golden Dawn, secret society club.
Mm-hmm.
And actually, I have. So, author Waite wrote a book for tarot under a pseudonym before he wrote his book under, the what is it? His seminal. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah. I got me blanking now.
Yeah, and that one that he did under a pseudonym was more divination and not like The Secret. So, that's what I love about tarot, though, is that it is layer after layer after layer, that gives it such richness. And then we get to decide as readers, the story for ourselves and what makes sense. At least I believe so.
Let's see. Oh, thank you, Harley. I appreciate that. Nancy says, I'm loving watching you three create. I know it's kind of hard to see, so I'm just going to kind of pull mine up a little bit here. If I could pop it up out of just so people can kind of see, because of my position. So, yeah. Now I'm starting to sound like the peacock. Woo, there we go. So it's kind of hard to see, but that's what I got started so far.
Oh, wow.
I'm using
oh, that's pretty.
I'm recycling some packing cardboard.
Oh,
and
cool.
The inks are kind of really not sitting. They're just absorbing a lot. So, but it's no rush. Sometimes I work on pieces, I'll put them aside and I'll think they're done. And then, a few years later or something, or sometimes even 10 years, it comes back with, hey, I'm not done with that yet. I can do this or I can do that. So
would you consider that abstract?
Yeah, I'm an abstract. I consider myself an abstract expressionist. I love color. I love just the visceral reaction to seeing colors being put down. And then there are times when I'll look back later on where I'll take a picture of a piece of artwork and I'll actually see like the shape of a dragon, or I'll see a face, or I'll,
wow.
and different, elements come through. So it's just very intuitive for me,
That's really neat. as I've started to start doing more art myself, I, you know, and I'm out and I see art on the walls somewhere, like I have just such a new appreciation that I never had before. And but also in life, like I now notice where how the light falls on things or how the light
Mm-hmm.
works. And it struck me like kind of a year in of watercolor. It's like, you know, like painting in this way is really just about you're painting the light. It's about the light, listen it
That's
more
what
than
the
anything else.
Impressionists. Uh-huh. It was all
Yeah.
about the light, Monet and all of them. Yep. It was the light. Exactly, my girl. Yes. Woohoo.
Yeah. So I'm like, wow, that's so cool. I don't, you know.
Let your inner impressionist out.
Yeah.
And Van Gogh, I just love his use of color. I mean, I talked
Oh,
about thick paint, but you know, and I can always relate too with Van Gogh because even though I never cut, physically harmed myself in that way, I know what it's like to struggle with a mental health diagnosis. You know, I have several, so I can't imagine back in the day being so severely creative and not severely creative. I mean, in a bad sense, but just being, you know, having such profound abilities and insight and connection to color and to, you know, the landscape and his spiritual beliefs, and then trying to battle his, you know, his demons, you know. And
Yeah.
yet when you see a lot of his paintings, like with people sometimes when they look at mine, because I use such bright colors and stuff, and a lot of them, they're like, people can't understand, how can you be depressed? Your paintings are so bright and colorful. But when I see his work, I can get it, you know.
Yeah.
Sometimes we all, you know, express our inner struggles, you know, our challenges or experiences in very unique and different but very powerful ways, you know.
Yeah. You know, a couple years ago, I was going through kind of a rough patch, and I'm not one where traditional therapy really works
Mhm.
for me. You know, it's like, yeah, I know that. Thanks. You know, personally, but I did art therapy. It was
Oh
really,
yes.
really, really cool and really helpful because I was able to see trends in my thought and thinking by looking at the things I was drawing or painting as directed by the art therapist. And it was really, really insightful and very, very cool.
Yeah,
You
I
know,
wish I could have gone back to school for that, but
you still can.
yeah, it's
You
just
would
right.
make a great art therapist.
Well, I would have to. I would be another 4 to 6 years. And right now,
Wow.
with my last student loan, I had to seek government forgiveness for, you know,
Oh,
forgiveness
I
on it.
see.
So I, unless I can afford it, you know, to go
Right.
back to
Mhm.
school. So this is how I do it. You know, I go through and I have an amazing counselor. She's been my counselor for about going on 7 years now. And with her, I can share my tarot with her. I can share my oracle with her. She's fascinated by it. And we both have a love of Barbies, and she loves my artwork. So I know not
That's nice.
everybody has been blessed like I have with, you know, a counselor, but there are good counselors out there. And mine is like one of my best friends. You
Wow.
know, if she was my counselor, I'd be like, hey, let's go get coffee over the weekend, you know.
Right.
Because, you know, I could share and talk to her about things that I can't really with anybody else. And
Right.
she's got me through some really dark times. And
Oh, wow. That's great.
I'm so blessed to you know, to have her.
Hmm.
Let's see what we got going on here. I like that red against the blue and the green. That's pretty.
Super cute-ish. Yeah. Ish is
Let's
the
see.
operative, operative
So, you know,
word in there.
I like that color palette because I'm thinking of abstract, you know, and seeing those colors and going, oh, that would make a cool abstract painting. And it already looks like that too in that sense with the blue and the brown. And you got the complements in there. You got green and red. You
Yeah,
know,
I've got
very
it. I'm
nice.
like you guys though. It's like I got to sit and wait for things to dry before. So I'm trying to work around and then so I can get back once once those dry. I guess I could use like a hair dryer, but I hate how loud those are, so
Ooh.
I don't do that.
Heather, put your painting
Right.
on the big screen. Okay, let's see here. Ladies, they can't see you. They are painting, you know. Oh, yeah, thank you, Sylvia, because we want to talk with the chat, but at the same time, it's kind of hard when we're trying to put paint in our town on paper. That's why I try to jump back and forth when I can. Let's see, check the chat, Sylvia. Okay, Jeff, nice to see you here. Oh, did Jeff come in here? Jeff, I'm seeing big Jeffs. Yep, there he is. I was just talking about you, Jeff. So this is
Hi,
Jenna.
Jeff.
This is Tarot Ask Backwards. This is Jeff Bailey. I do the poetry with him on Sunday nights.
Ooh.
Oh, hello. That sounds great. Wow. Hi.
Yes. So let's see. I'm seeing arrows. How they put your guys, it's kind of hard to here. Oops. Didn't mean to do that. Hold on a second. Jonathan, you want to share before I put, because they want me to put mine on the big screen, but I want to put you on.
Sure.
Let's see what you got going on there.
So here's what the next
Oh,
layer.
look at you.
Oh.
Busy. I like
Once
that
I start
yellow.
painting, I just get into this groove. I don't know.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And it's relaxing. It's like one of the best ways of, meditation. People don't think, painting or doing art or doodling or even coloring in a coloring book, is therapeutic, but it slows your blood pressure. It helps you to lower your
add the apples and the flames to the.
Ooh, apples. Yes.
Oh, those are apple trees. I was going to ask you what kind of trees those were.
Yeah, they're kind of more of an abstract. I'm more of an impressionistic. I don't try for realism usually, but I like.
Yeah, some people do really crazy things, super hyper realism. It just blows my mind.
It's true.
We saw a pastel journal yesterday over at Barnes and Noble, and Shan's like, "That's just a photograph of the pastel." No, I said, "No, honey, that's the pastel. It's a photograph." No, that's the pastel. People are that good where they can get that hyper realistic. So let's see. Let me do this, y'all. See, it's hard to see, guys. It's hard to see with the glare. So let me do it this way. So this is.
Oh wow.
It's like I said, it's kind of hard to see but this is all purples and reds. I got some greens in there that kind of go along with, the greens and the reds in the card. But yeah, this will take me a while.
Yeah, mine always takes like a few days, and then I'll post the picture of the final product on my community channel or community tab.
I'm going to have to rearrange my room now because we found out that we're not going to be able to move, that we're going to have to stay here another year. Sharon went over for people who know what's going on with me with the apartment situation and where we live. We were going to go and do a month to month, but if we did that, they're going to charge us an extra $200 a month for rent.
Oh my God.
Right.
So now we have to stick it out here one more year. And then Shannon and I are determined that by this time next year, we're going to be in Oregon. That's where he's from. And I want to go down to Ashland area, the Southern Oregon, where they have the arts community. They have metaphysical. They got the stones. It's just absolutely beautiful. And Jenna, you know how you were saying in Florida, the wild peacocks who walk around? Mm-hmm. I love deer. And down in Ashland, Oregon, deer are feel safe enough that they just walk the streets of Ashland and people don't hurt them. They just walk through. You can walk by, you can look at them. I mean, it's just
that's really like cool
paradise to me. So
you should come to my house because I feed deer and I hang out with them. Yeah, like I think it was a deer that got hit. She had a limp, but like I would put out corn for her and stuff, and then she started bringing her babies around, and so I have a young buck. He'll stay within 4 feet of me, and they know my voice. And
Oh, I love that,
so
Jenna.
yeah, like I have this little herd, and one of them was interesting. It's another deer who's coming, a female, but she gets horns occasionally, which are super, super rare for females, for does.
Oh, that's giving me Ellen of the Trod vibes.
Yeah, and like people are
Ooh.
like, oh well, it's a hormonal imbalance, but I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna choose to see this as like super spiritual and awesome.
Yeah.
Oh, thanks, Jackie. Yeah, well, she's representative of the Lady of the Lake, because I was trying to add these cards that I pulled into one image, was the ideas. So that's kind of what that's about.
Here, let me put you in the big screen so people can see the cards.
Yeah,
I love that Susan Sedan Boulay one. It's just, we lost her so soon, but she was an incredible artist.
She was an incredible artist. Yeah.
She used ink, oil pastel, watercolors. Let's see. Nancy says, Jenna, I'm west of Asheville in the mountains. Are you close to our ancient mountains?
Oh, Nancy, I'm in the Chapel Hill area, but I live in a rural area outside of Chapel Hill. So it won't be rural very long. Everything's being developed, but around me right now, there's these fields. I have a little bit of a dry creek and woods on my land, and it's fabulous. But yeah, I love the mountains a lot. I need to head up there. It's been a minute. But I actually have, I'm going to be in Ocracoke, the Outer Banks, next week. We have a little teardrop camper, so we're going to do a little camping.
Oh, that's nice.
But my husband and I, we're both redheads actually, and I'm like, yeah, we can't do the beach in summer. Are you kidding? Like we got a shoulder season. That's what we can handle.
Nancy says it sounds beautiful. Reminds me of the girl in Harry Potter. Can't think of her name right now. With the deer. I think I know who you're talking about. She was the one that was a little loopy, a little strange, but she was still cool.
Luna Lovegood.
Maybe, yeah.
Yeah, Luna Lovegood. Thank you. Let me see. And we were talking about mountains and the song. Now I'm hearing the song that Stevie Nicks did. She goes about lady. She goes, it was from the song she did with Sheryl Crow, Sorcerer. And she goes, have you talked to the Lady of the Mountains? So whenever I hear the mountains, I think of Lady of the Mountains. So, but yeah, I love to put just my type of music on that gets me inspired, and I'll do paintings to music too and stuff. So. Let's see. Harley says, Nancy, my brother lived in Asheville. I called it the New England of the South. He loved it. Oh, that's cool. Oh, and Sonia, Val says your sweet spot is Oregon. Well, who knows? Maybe we'll all end up there someday. We'll create a commune. Oh, wouldn't that be funny? And Amy, Mystic Rose Tarot, she's up in Portland. So yeah, a lot of us. And then Michelle wouldn't be that far. She's outside of Seattle. Miss Michelle Marie. And great gems there.
I know, all you West Coasty West people.
Well, I lived in Arizona for 8 years, and that's where I met my Shan. And he was actually from, he was born in California, but he considered himself an Oregonian. And he lived in several places in Oregon. And I'm just like, okay, got to get out of New York. This is look who's here. Diana. Guess what card I'm using today for my inspired piece? Everybody, Diana, this is her deck.
Gosh,
Diana,
I love your deck.
That I was gifted your deck. It was a beautiful gift to me, and this is the card I chose today for my colors in my piece. So this is Diana's deck. She's in the chat.
Hi, Diana.
And Diana, guess what? This is so cool. Let me take myself off the big screen. Jenna was just sharing that in her area, she's very much connected to the deer. She has like a deer family that trusts her, that comes around her home. And get this, she says one of the female deers actually has horns. And and just before you came in, I said, oh, Ellen of the Trods, and then here you are. Now you just popped up in the chat because I didn't know who Ellen of the Trods were until I met Diana, and she had a couple of months ago. She did a show with Allie, and she talked about the Ellen of the Trods. So
we
she
also
goes,
have in the Chapel Hill area, we have
bye, Lottie.
albino deer, which are really cool. I couldn't believe it when I saw it. It's amazing.
Yeah, unfortunately, I think this is going back about 10 or 12 years or so, but there was a white albino deer that was in and around one of the towns I grew up in, and this guy who owns an auto shop, he people knew that he knew people loved this animal because it's rare, and nobody touched this deer. What did he do? He went out and killed it.
Oh,
and took it as a trophy. And I said, oh boy,
Oh my God.
to have some severe karma coming back on you, buddy. Let me tell you.
yeah, you do.
Right.
Big time, big time.
Next life has that deer, probably.
Yeah. So it broke a lot of people's hearts. And they were like, oh, there's nothing we can do. You know,
That's so sad. Right
Yeah.
now, where we live, my husband and I, like, it's possum season. So we, a lot of possums are getting hit by the side of the road because most of them are females and they have a pouch full of babies. So they're not as fast as they normally are. They're totally weighed down. So they're getting hit. So what we came to understand was that even if you see a dead possum, I know this is gross, but we will go and dig around and we'll often find living babies.
Sorry.
Well, that's a sign.
Life is calling.
Right. No, that was a scam call that was calling.
Oh.
At least I have those notifications. Call. Scam.
Yeah, it breaks my heart because we see a lot of dead raccoons in the roads around here.
Yeah.
And you know some of these people can slow down if they wanted to, you know. And when I see this squirrels and the raccoons, it just breaks my heart.
I know, it's so sad. Yeah, but with the possums, we have, like, I have a thing in the back of my car, like surgical gloves, and also
oh my God,
like a net. Like, I have all these things, though when we counter it, we can kind of pull over and jump into action. And we saved like 6 baby possums last year.
Oh,
the mom often doesn't make it, but the babies will get flung from her pouch if she gets hit. So they may be like around or still within. So it's been really rewarding to be able to do that. And like, they eat ticks. Don't hit them. They eat ticks, please.
Right.
Keep them. They are our friends.
Yeah.
I hate ticks.
Me too.
I don't know anyone who likes ticks.
No, they're disgusting and they're gross. And I have a friend who's got Lyme disease because of a tick.
Oh no, that sucks.
Thank you, Jackie, again for putting Jonathan's link in there. Oh, thank you for putting mine in there. Jenna's as well. Let's see. Oh, okay. And Oil Painter says Mr. Bear Goes Nowhere and Mr. Bear's Big Adventure, both on Amazon. Oh, book 3 is almost finished. So I don't know what we're talking about. Diana, are these books that you've written, or are these books that you're recommending for others to read? Diana, look at you, girl, full of one. Yeah, well, actually, while everybody's here, we are at 4:30. I mean, I'm in no rush, but I didn't know if you guys are on a certain schedule.
I'm okay for a little bit longer, but
yeah, I could go for a little bit longer.
So while we're doing this, I'm just going to go ahead here. Let me take myself off of here because I still have areas drying. I'll have to go back to that. So let me just pull over this way a little and share some cards with everybody. Share Diana's artwork. So this is another one, a little fairy over. Yeah,
oh, that's so pretty.
That one. Yeah.
Ooh, I really
the
like that one.
Jonathan's neighbor's peacock gives its approval. So I love pumpkins, and that was something my mom and dad used to call me. You know,
Oh,
their little
pumpkin.
pumpkins. So there's that,
Oh,
and I
that's
love
so
fall.
cute.
Fall is my favorite. Now this one here is kind of interesting. I'm thinking this might be Diane. I haven't read the insert yet, but I think this might be a double card. But yeah, it looks like he's roasting
It looks like
marshmallows.
it's Krampus. It looks like Krampus.
Oh, it's Krampus.
I think
okay.
maybe
So it's
that's
Krampus.
what it reminds me of.
Well, maybe it is. So Diana, help me out. Books that you have illustrated. Oh, okay, Diana. So the books there are the ones that she is. And actually, what's cool, I had a friend in Arizona.
I love
He ended
that.
up moving out of Arizona and to Oregon. We don't talk anymore.
Oh.
But his name was Mike, and he used to make handmade drums. He was a sculptor and an artist, and he had the long beard, the mustache, chops exactly like this. And I thought, hey, there's my friend Mike. There's that one.
I wanted to talk about, like, if you see a raccoon during the day at this time of year, it's often a mom with babies. They'll come in the daytime to try to out-compete to get more food for themselves and the babies. So a lot of people go, oh, it's their rabies. They're more often than not, though, they're mothers with youngs. So that may be why you're seeing a raccoon during the day in the springtime. Anyways.
Yeah, unfortunately, I'm seeing them by the side of the road, and it just breaks my heart. Now, this here is one of my favorite ones. It's like, ooh, we're making and stirring up a cauldron, and she's almost kind of like, dude, don't put that in there. That's not supposed to go in there yet. So for me, I just love this. It can tell so many stories. This card has so much character, Diana. This is one of my favorites.
Oh, I really love that.
I mean, the little girl's face is like,
ooh. Are those are all oils, you said, right? Those are all oils done?
Yeah. Wow. Diana, these are all oil paints, I believe, on your cards. And she says, yes, that one is Krampus. And the other one that said looked like my friend Mike, she says his name is Creus. They call him Papa Smurf and build Karen villages in the woods. Oh, how cool. And I love the hippo.
Oh my God. I love that so much. Wow.
I love that one a lot, Diana.
Oh, and that's exactly the cauldron of Caradwin. Okay. So that must
look at the faces in the woods.
Yep, Taliesin got a little too close to that pot. So let's see what else.
Yeah.
And of course, again, my favorite that I chose for today. I just love the colors. I just absolutely love that. Some fun ones. Let's see. Oh, the praying mantis. I like animals, so.
Me too. Oh, that's so good. Wow.
Yeah, the road or the path less traveled. I can see myself going, now let's go down here. Let's see where that goes. Oh, permanent marker on coated cardstock. My finger was the brush.
Oh.
Yeah, actually, Diana was the last guest that we had here on the Jonathan and I. She actually painted Ellen of Trod painting. Oh, and I love this one here. I love crows and ravens. Look at that guy.
Oh my God, I love that.
He's got such soul in his eyes.
He's thinking about.
He's a very old soul, so wise. Looks a little sad. And this one here is like, don't mess with me. What do you think you're doing? They're like, hey, look at me.
Excuse you.
I'm looking at you.
Totally. Excuse you. Oh, that's cool. I like the lantern.
Let's see. I resonate with some more than others. So where are some of the the little creepy. No, they're not creepy, Diana, but I just don't deal, unless they're Barbies, I don't deal with dolls. But yes, the little doll friends. I used to set my Barbies on my bed, and we would have, a little. Oh yeah,
Oh wow,
Jenna,
Diana.
you'll like this one.
Oh, yay.
So, yep, that's one of my
What?
favorites.
Diana also plays. She's Polish and descendant of the last king of Poland.
Wow.
Wow. So we have royalty in our midst. Let's see, snake. Oh, look at the bear.
I just finished painting a snake.
Oh, that's so
The
cute.
bear. Or I'll share the snake with you then, Jonathan. Let people know I have a terrible fear and a phobia
Ooh, I love
of
that.
snakes. So, but yeah.
I have a fascination with snakes because I've had this thing happen to me so many times where either I'm getting into a situation or I'm in a situation that's not good for me.
Mm-hmm.
I'll have a dream of a rattlesnake like warning me.
Oh, wow. Really? That's so interesting, Jonathan.
Yeah. And like in the dream, I'm scared because the rattle's happening, but the snake never actually like lunges at me. He's just there to like warn me.
Oh, they always come after me. Oh. And then I wake up in cold sweats. And now this is going to be the last one I'm going to share. And I just love this. How this girl looks in the mirror. How does she see herself? She sees herself as a warrior. I love that.
What card is that one? What card is that one? That's the tarot card?
This is just an oracle deck that
I thought she was a tarot. Oh, okay. Got it.
It's number 14, but I don't have the sheet in front
Maybe
of
she
me.
can tell us.
Yeah. Diana, the one with the girl looking into the mirror and seeing herself as a female warrior. I love that. What was the name that you gave this card, hon? I don't have my information with me. So I'm going to put myself on small and see what Jonathan's got. Anything you want to share, Jonathan, before we start heading out?
I have pretty much completed the trees.
Oh, I love that. Are they two different kinds of apple trees? Is that why they're different?
One is an apple tree and one's the tree with the flames in it.
Oh, I see. Oh, I see what you did there. And then the snake. I got it. Yeah, that's really cool. And then it's volcanoes erupting. Yeah. Spurt, splurt, spurt. I'm gonna blow.
Well, I mean, if you look here, that is one of the main images is the volcano. So
yeah. Totally.
That's a cool deck. That really is unique. I love
different unique decks. The oracle that she created to go with it, the tarot assembled, which is just like individual symbols. But the cool thing is the individual symbols, like here's just an example. We have laurel, right? But if you look in the background, there's multiple symbols on there. So each one of these is associated. You can see here like chariot and world, 2 of cups, 7 of cups, ace of swords, and 6 of wands. So it tells you where that symbol shows up in every card in the tarot.
Oh wow, that's really interesting.
And then those cards, their other symbols are what's in the background here.
Mm-hmm.
So I find that when I'm using these decks, especially when I'm using them together, like certain symbols are going to show up multiple times, and I'm like, okay, that's the thing that we need to zero in on and get really focused.
And Jonathan, everybody is saying they love your painting so far, and
thank you.
That Fatima says, let's see, Diana says, love it. Mm-hmm. Very nice, very cool. Oh, excuse me, beautifully done.
Thank you. Yeah.
And let's give it over to Miss Jenna.
Oh, hey. I guess I should show my face again. I can only do one at a time. Give me a second here. Let me switch cameras. I should have gotten a degree in theatrical lighting. I didn't know I would need that so much in the life that I lead nowadays.
Right. Yay.
There we go. Yay, she's back.
So this is the composite of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 cards that I pulled. So it's
I really
just
like
putting
that.
in the background, and then right here is going to be my Knight of Pentacles. You can see him. I'm going to paint him later. And then I still have to add the throat chakra one. I haven't figured out what I'm going to do with this, but I'll do something. I don't know yet.
Cool.
So playing with that idea, and then also
I love that Four of Wands card. That's beautiful.
yeah, it's so pretty. And then this was actually not a traditional tarot deck. I thought it was, and then I got it. It was because it was called Tarot Illuminated, but it was actually a 56 card deck. So that's why I kind of went into the box. But yeah, so I've got that. So I'm just kind of working my way.
I really like that,
And I
Jenna.
like the colors. And
It's
Jackie
fun.
says,
It's
love
fun
it.
to like create these composite like images from your reading. So then you've got one image, one painting or whatever of like various cards that kind of tell the whole story. So
That's such a cool idea.
Okay,
yeah.
then here, Jenna, that's great. Are you getting the watercolor off of
Mhm.
paper leaves? Yes.
Yeah. It's this.
Viva.
It's called Viva. Some of them I went to my regular palette, but like this just gives like a really rich and very fast kind of environment. So it's just slowly working on it. Thank
Carly
you.
says, very nice, very cool composition too.
Thank you.
And Michelle, I enjoy too watching other people create. It's fun. I know when I watch my videos on YouTube, like Canada has not Canada. Well, they can participate, but Great Britain has this show called Landscape Artist of the Year and Portrait Artist of the Year, and they're just such classy shows. It's like they for the landscape, people come, people submit. They pick 9, I think like 9 artists for, and when they call it competition, they call them heats there. And
Oh,
so, and then they give you a location to paint, and then they dwindle it down to 3, and then they pick one, and then usually the grand prize is a place in or around Great Britain, or so, that wants to have a painting commemorating a certain something of a landscape, and then they'll do the same with a portrait. It'll be somebody who's well known. Alan Cummings was a great one that they did for
wow.
portrait. The last one this year they did, the woman got to paint the Orkney Islands and their introduction into, using windmills and solar energy, trying to protect the land, moving forward with new forms of using energy for people. And I just sit there and I'll have my watercolor paints out or whatever, and I'll just look at lines that people are, the landscape, and try to, it's just, I love watching other people do art. It inspires you. So
yeah.
Let's see. Ooh, something I've never seen before. Thanks. Oh, yeah, it's put out by Sky Productions. It's called Landscape Artist of the Year and Portrait Artist of the Year, and they're so adorable. I like them. They're really good. And one artist, Ty Shan Scherenberg, I would love to meet him someday. He is an incredible artist. I just adore him. Already, and Sonia sharing her story about her foot and ankle. What? Had a bite on my foot and ankle.
I think you got bit by a snake.
Oh, no. Yeah. I had one like crawl almost on my feet one day, and I was just petrified. I don't think I held my breath, breathe until that thing went past me. And then I ran to the house like screaming bloody murder. It was just terrifying.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, me and snakes, we don't get along.
Where did your fear come from? Did like something happen when you were a child, or?
Always happened. It's just always been there.
Oh, I bet it. Have you done like a past life reading on that?
About to ask.
No, but I've had dreams where I have seen myself being thrown in to a thing of snakes, and yeah, it's not pleasant.
I'm sorry.
Why's it got to be snakes?
There's got to be something either epigenetic or ancestral or past life.
Right.
for such a
Probably.
strong reaction. Yeah.
But with how I love that you're with the deer is that when I was a little girl, my dad and I were at his friend's house, and he had a place out in the country. He had a big piece of acreage of land. He had a barn. He had cows. His name was Mr. French. It was the Frenches. And so my dad and I were walking in the back, and we accidentally scared a herd of deer out. And they had jumped the fence into the next neighbors, but we noticed that one of them didn't make it. And I pretty much it was as a female, and she had broken her neck or something. She was still kind of flaying around, and I'm in tears because I never liked. My dad was a hunter, and I never liked it. Because I was with animals, especially the deer. And so he says, "Oh, don't." I'm bawling. He goes, "I'm going to get Mr. French. Don't go near it. Just I'll be back." And I knew what they were going to get a gun, so I wouldn't suffer.
Right.
And did I listen to my dad? No.
Of course not.
I got down on that ground. I moved up to that deer. I put, her head into my lap where I could, and I just pet her. And I, gave her love until she passed away. And after that, knock on wood, I will know when I'm driving at night if I need to be careful, because I'll start thinking about deer. And soon afterwards, I will see one in the road or near the road. And I have a friend who didn't believe me. And we were driving home one night. And she goes, "Why are you driving so slow?" I go, there's deer up ahead. She goes, "What makes you think?" Because she didn't believe that, And I said, "No." I go, "I need to slow down." And it was a couple winding roads. This was out in Clarence. And soon enough, we went about maybe a block or two up, and there were 4 of them right in the road. And she looked at me and she goes, "Excuse my language, you weren't fucking kidding." I said, "No, I'm not. I don't make this up." I go, "They let me know." So, I have that connection.
That's so similar to me. Like,
that's my connection.
Like when I sense them, if I'm driving around dusk, if I sense them, I have a little song. Like I just telepathically, like, "You got to stay out of my way, stay out of my way." But I have that for a lot of animals. Like my husband and I went, hiking, just a little walk in the woods, kind of near us. And I was like, I sense owl. And my husband believes everything that I do. I mean, he's a big fan, right? And then we saw an owl couple with one with a mouse in his mouth, because they had a nest. And he was like, "How did you know that?" And I'm like, I'm psychic. I thought we had established that
already. It's like
oh my goodness.
Or something. So, but yeah. Well, let's see. Just going to catch up really quick. I did see that, Michelle. I will talk to you at some point. So yeah. I almost destroyed a whole display in a pet store once before. I think it was a PetSmart, because I was looking into this one case because I thought they were like turtles, or because I love reptiles. It's just the snakes I can't. And I was looking at going, okay, where's, I figured it was one of the little, lizards that were hiding. And I'm like, where are you? And I'm coming up to the snake just boom, right up to the glass at my face. And I screamed. I backed up. I was like, the whole damn store is going over. Oh my God. I was like mortified and terrified at the same time because of that thing coming at me. And then almost, So yeah.
Wow.
No issues here.
There's this trend. There's this trend that I'm seeing like on the TikTok of like women who are like survivors of assault and stuff, that they're getting like tattoos of Medusa, like in this really like protective way. Like, and I was like, that is so interesting. And how much like Medusa imagery has become really kind of popular these days.
See, that's the thing about the patriarchal men getting a hold of the old myths and legends, because, because that's what they want women to do. They want women to pit it. So they're taking goddesses and they're pitting them against each other. And, Athena doing that to, Medusa. And it wasn't even Medusa. Medusa didn't ask to be assaulted. And yet she's being punished by another goddess for something that was forced. You know what I mean? That's you can tell that's the cycle, psychology of the
Mhm.
male patriarchal, way of writing and story and stuff. So I really do like a lot of these myths being rewritten,
Or
um,
just like reclaimed.
reclaimed. Yes, I
I
like
did a
that.
thing on the strength card, and I did a TikTok about it. All these TikToks that I've been talking about that I did are also on my YouTube shorts because I upload them here. But there is this etching of Ishtar, who was the Sumerian goddess of war and like badassery and creativity.
Mhm.
And she's like wearing these like tall go-go boots, like is the only thing I can call them. Like it is it's the most fiercest thing I've ever seen. And she's got wings, and then she's got this quiver of all these arrows.
Wow.
And she has her foot on the back of a lion, and he has like a nose ring, and she's holding him like this. So we have this really early imagery of like goddess and lion, that feels much more raw and fierce than like I've domesticated the lion and he won't bite me and
Yeah.
whatever. So it was just really, when I found it, I was like, what? This is crazy. And then you also have the one of the like in Turkey, what is it? Göbekli? I'm not saying it right, but there's a picture of a very earthy woman, very curvy, and she's sitting between two leopards that are sitting on either side of her. I don't know if that rings
Ooh.
a bell, but
Mhm.
so that again, you see this like fierceness and like feminine strength that
Mhm.
then got washed away, over the centuries.
Yep.
So,
Well, like you said, it's time to reclaim and bring back, and Nancy and I, who's in chat, Nancy Crohn's Intuition, every Monday, her and I do divine feminine readings. We
oh, yay.
celebrate the divine feminine, the goddess. We share, we do card pulls from decks that we feel have feminine energy, or where, she wants us, to pull from. It may not necessarily be a goddess deck or,
Mhm.
a certain type of deck, but it's, we discuss our crystals and we talk about you know the goddess, and we usually allow the chat to kind of like, because it's an open communication between chat and a show, because what's the point of having people in chat if you don't interact with them? Because there are a lot of
Right.
shows where people just talk a lot and they don't really acknowledge the chat at all. And I know sometimes there's a lot of people and a lot of conversations going on, but I like sometimes the smaller chats because we can be more intimate, more personal, and we're there to be able to share each other's stories and comment
Mhm.
and give support. And so yeah, every Monday, her and I do a Divine Feminine. We would love for you to join us
Oh, that'd be
with,
fun.
with all your knowledge of the goddess. And when you're talking about Ishtar, I was also thinking about Asherah. You have
Oh,
Astarte,
yeah,
you
yeah,
have
yeah.
Inanna, all those beautiful Sumerian goddesses. Even that's where Mary, Mother Mary, who I love, that's where a lot of some of her early beginnings too, because people are starting to think now with all these Marys in, the Bible or written, that was actually like a name or given to a priestesshood.
Yeah.
They were sacred priestesses of birth. And oh yeah, just get me all going on all that. So
I
it's not
know.
like suffocating and I'm it's no, give her back her femaleness, give her back her autonomy, her sovereignty, so yeah. Okay,
I
I digress.
I know. No, I'm there right there with you. Like the earliest writing that's not about accounting of like how many bales of hay and blah blah blah. And I should say my first degree is anthropology, so and so is
Oh
Jonathan. So it's
really?
kind of my jam. It's kind of our jam. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
So talented.
like the earliest prose that was written in long form was by the priestess, what is it? Enanhuana? I'm messing it up, but it's the hymn to Inanna. And in that hymn, she's like, "Oh, fierce cow!" Like cows back then were like aurochs. They were fucking wild. They were crazy. And
Mm-hmm.
so when you say that fierce wild cow, you're saying something that can carry a baby and give birth and is still fierce as fuck. Like we're not stripping that. It's a very whole and complete system. And it just blows my mind that that was the first written anything that was long that we know of that we can find. That just blows my mind.
Yeah,
It's
the
so
Egyptian
cool,
Hathors were
you
pictured
know?
as with as a cow holding the
Mhm.
child with the horn. So the Hathors, a lot of the Isis too at one point had been envisioned once with a with horns. So the cows were and the oxen were very sacred. I mean,
Yeah.
that was what brought out the Milky Way, was the milk from the goddess's bosom, giving birth to the universe. So ooh, and right down there, Nancy says, "Oh yes, Heather, what a brilliant idea, Jenna." So after we're done with the show, I'll have to find out from Jenna when she, if you'd be interested in joining
I'm like,
Nancy. We
I'm on
don't
the
want to,
spot. Okay, yes.
but yeah, definitely would love to have you on. Just amazing. That's going to be a great show. Wow. And not tomorrow. What's today? Friday. Monday we have Dailey Wolf Girl, and she studies
Ooh.
Norse.
Wow.
And she works with the Nordic pantheon, and she works with Freya and Odin, and she's just So Nancy and I are going to have a little bit of Nordic magic and goddess with us on Monday. So
Sounds
definitely.
exciting.
Definitely. So before we go, anything coming up, Jonathan?
Yes, next Wednesday, the 17th. Yeah, 17th.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of Nancy and Ginger Faye will be joining me for some dragon fairy readings.
Ooh.
Nice. I gotta get me a dragon deck so I can join you and Ginger and Nancy for dragon readings. I have a dragon statue, but I don't think I have a dragon deck.
I have
might have
so
to get
many
me a
dragon
dragon
I
deck.
know. Dragon is your vibe, Jonathan.
It's true.
It always has been.
Right?
Always been true about you. Yeah, since I've known you.
Jonathan, I showed you my dragon before, didn't I?
Yeah.
My Marmaduke. Yeah, Jenna, this is Marmaduke.
Oh, how cute.
I got him when in Sedona when I was living in Arizona.
Oh.
I saw him. I told the proprietor, I owner, I want him. He jumped right out at me, and I picked him up. I looked at him and I said, "Oh, I wonder what your name might be." And I even had the thought out, and I heard Marmaduke.
Marmaduke.
So that's my Marmaduke, and he watches over me when I do my readings. So
I love that.
love the dragons.
Yeah.
All right, and what about you, Jenna? You got anything going on in your channel or your website or on TikTok or anything that you want to share?
Yeah. I got a couple things coming up. Let me look at on April 16th, I'm having Shona Hill of Galaxy Tarot. Like, she created one of the first tarot apps for Android. I remember when it first came out. So we're going to talk about tarot and technology, and is a reading using an app as good as like the physical? So we're going to talk about that. I have them up under my lives if you want to put remind me. And then I'm having, what else am I doing? And then I don't have anything until May 10th. Melanie Barnum, where's her book? She had a book that just came out. Wow. And I'm in it. Where is it? I can't find it. Oh, there it is. Real Life Intuition. So I'm going to be talking to her, but I don't have a lot. I've been I'm just kind of getting back into the swing of things. But I was wanting to do Kipper. Do you guys read with Kippers?
I have a Kipper deck.
I have two Kipper decks.
Oh my God. We need to talk about this, you guys. We have to talk about Kipper. Oh,
I have the De La Nuit Lenormand that came out last November, and I have the Ciro Marchetti expanded edition of the Lenormand. And then I also have the Lunatic Lenormand.
Seaborn. I love the Seaborn. I got the Kickstarter version.
Thomas like, do you want this? And I was like,
I
need another thing to learn, like a hole in the head.
Right.
But I was like, okay, yes. And then of course I've just been deep diving. It's crazy. It's crazy. Mm-hmm. Kipper is insane. Like how like to the fucking point and crazy accurate. I just,
So which is that one, Jenna?
this is the Seaborn
Seaborn Kipper.
with Ceola Thompson. She does this really beautiful like artwork.
She did the line, like her artwork's on the Line Strider Tarot, I believe. Is that right?
Yeah, and she did a like Green Witch Oracle or something as well, but all in the same kind of dreamy style.
Mm-hmm.
Do you guys read with Kipper a lot, or?
I'm just getting used to it because I backed the Kickstarter. Wait, where am I pointing? There we go, Kickstarter for that. And we
should do a live, like walking through.
I sometimes use the Kipper for when I do my investigative tarots.
Perfect.
Mm-hmm.
Send me a link of one. I would love to see what you've done, because that's just so perfect for Kipper. It blows my mind how crazy it is.
I don't use it a lot, but every now and then, because I have certain decks that I have set aside that I use for that, but every now and then I'll grab the Kipper for me. Sometimes, at least in this edition of Kipper, there are so many people. It's like too many court cards, for me.
Oh, really?
But sometimes this does come in handy, because then it can give additional, how do I say this? It's more of a, it can reinforce. So there's a lot of cards to me that are similar. So if I get a couple of the same, I'm like, okay, it's just really reiterating. This is a guy who knows people, maybe ties to military, something law enforcement or so. So yeah.
Wow.
Including this a little bit more.
That's so interesting. I have a question for you. A lot of people, like, I've done some of those, like, I don't mind doing like nosy readings on like misogynists and jurors on TikTok. I'm like, like, I don't care. But do you ever get any pushback on like third-party readings or anything like that?
So right now for me, Jackie has probably gone to bed. Not Jackie Jacaranda, but Jackie's Crystal Moon. She does the investigative tarots with me, and a couple other readers. But we've only really had one person.
Be right back.
We were reading on this missing Australian woman, from this year, and her name was Samantha Murphy, and and we always state every time we start a show, and I have it in description, this is for educational and entertainment purposes only.
Right.
We are only looking at this through tarot cards and asking questions that any investigator may be looking at. And everybody that we might discuss or look into is innocent until proven guilty in a court of law. So that's always been reiterated. And we had one woman a few weeks back who said, she goes, how disrespectful, you blaming the husband, and it turned out to be some 22-year-old. She goes, you two ladies call yourselves psychics, you're nothing but da da da. And we got rid of her. And I was like, no, we didn't claim anything. We were just, So sometimes I wish my abilities were a little bit stronger so I could figure out, because to me, the true crime, we always try to be very extremely respectful as possible. We try to watch certain words that we use. When we pull cards, we're pulling on the end. We're not asking what people were thinking. We're just asking, why did this happen? What was going on before? Because I don't like third parties. I don't like, because there's so many tarot channels, not in our community, but you go elsewhere and it's like, oh girl, this bitch be cheating on your ass. You better see this card right here. So you're going in and you're doing these really like intrusive, just really this, to me, that's kind of nasty. That nasty, kind of like Jerry Springer readings. For me, the only time and I tell people, it's like, I'm not reading on this, it's to give the victim a voice. Maybe we can find some information that a family, and we've actually been reached out to by a couple of people that were friends of the family of a couple of individuals we read on, that let us know secretly through email that a lot of the cards made sense and that we connected. So we're always very sure to let people know, we don't make any money. We don't even put our donation links in the chat for these. So we try to keep it as respectful as possible. Now, some celebrities I will read on. I want to get into a little bit more because people don't realize just how dark and evil, the music business, the movie business, and I'm willing to pull cards on some of those, but I don't have a lot of fellow readers who feel comfortable with that. They prefer politics. They're like, why do you read on that and investigative tarot? Is that energy icky? And I'm like, politics isn't.
Right.
I can't tap into those politics because to me it's like, yeah, it's just for at least with me for my personal, I'm helping a victim, or possibly a family. I'm not tapping into those energies of a lot of people that, really, don't deserve to, you know what I mean? It's all very personal. And so
Yeah.
it's just a personal preference. I did it for a while and I just couldn't because I was getting so angry all the time. I was getting frustrated. I was starting to, it's bad enough. I live in New York, which is a blue state, but my area is very red. So it's like I'm already seeing these people around and I'm feeling that hate. I'm feeling that anger. I'm feeling that disgust. And it's like, I don't want to add to those emotions and put those kind of energies in my body while reading. You know what I mean? If that makes sense.
Yeah, totally.
Hello, Rosanna.
Yeah, I've got to run. It's 5 here for me.
Yeah, same here.
I've got kitties and stuffies and all that.
Oh, I know. I hear my kitty meowing too. My other one.
They're like, it's time for dinner.
Yep.
Right.
This has been so much fun. Thank you so much again for having me. Hey, look, you've got people in there.
I'm kind of just blocking out where I want to put them. I haven't really started painting them.
Oh, I see what you're doing. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
That's cool.
Very
I will work on it more as the days go by. And
yeah, this is as far as I've gotten, because I'm working in watercolor. So
that's really pretty.
I love the symbol up there. That's very cool.
Oh, the throat chakra. Yeah, that's how I decided to add it. And then so slowly but surely I'm
I love that.
having fun. This has been wonderful. Please have me anytime do art. This is great. What a wonderful way to spend the afternoon.
Oh, yes. I'm going to be reaching out to you for a couple different shows. So very excited. So nice to meet you. Thank you, Jonathan, for introducing me to Jenna. I mean,
of course.
This is amazing. So welcome to our community.
Hello, everyone.
Welcome, Jenna.
Yeah, I'm like, we got to do something with Kipper too, because Kipper blows my mind. And I'm just like, this is crazy.
I'd like to learn more about Kipper and how people use it. So I'm more of a novice, with
me
the
too.
Kipper, but still they tell a story. I could keep putting cards out and the story just keeps going and going. I'd be here, to the whole,
right.
So
the second deck I got was the Rainbow Kipper by Stephen Bright and Tony. Oh, why am I blanking on her last name? The Kipper lady, Tony.
Tony Pule, right?
Yes, thank you. I was totally blanking on her last name. So I got that because they have the cards color coded and it's supposed to help you learn the system a little better. So,
I actually like on the Seaborn Kipper, I actually wrote little symbols at the bottom to tell me the directions of the cards.
Oh, right.
Yeah, that made it a lot easier. Wow. That's what makes it so unique is even when you do a smaller spread, every time you do it, the shape of it changes because you have to follow each card is telling you whether it's a stop card, so you can't put any more, or whether it's a connector card, so you've got to add another card. That's what's unique about it. So it's been really interesting. But anyways, I must go. Love to everyone. Nice to meet everyone.
Thank you, everybody.
Hello, everyone. Until next time.
Some of you later tonight in my 8 show.
I got lots of green on my hand.
Bye.